Hi, I'm Gary and welcome to my shop. This video is about adding a toolbar to the Worksharp 3000 by attachments to the workstation I made based on Stumpy Nubs plans. I just made a few changes to the plan, so you can see my video on this in the description below for my version 3 of this workstation. Now this modification has long been in the works and anticipated by several viewers, so they can resolve their need for a toolbar. Having that toolbar allows for the use of many Tormek accessories and jigs, and that extends your sharpening capacities. Now the original Worksharp 3000 toolbar was discontinued due to lack of sales. Now it's become a sought-after accessory, but it's hard to find. I've seen auctions for it for as high as $300 if you can find it. It originally sold for $60. There has to be a better way than that. In this video, I'm going to resolve that and attach a few boards to my workstation to mount the Tormek Tool Bar. It's quite simple, but it was complicated for me to figure it out. Sometimes we overthink things. And stick around to the end of this and I'll have another tip for you about working around the discontinued wide blade attachment. If you enjoy this video and you get some inspiration to update your sharpener, please give me a like and hit that thumbs up icon. Please share it with your family, friends, and fellow woodworking enthusiasts. Please give us your comments on what you would like to see, any questions you may have, and what ideas you can share with us. Please subscribe and be sure to hit that bell icon so you won't miss anything new. So let's get to this one now. Well, this is the Worksharp workstation that I built based on Stumpy Nubs plans, and you can get a copy of his plans at his site, and I'll put a link to that down below. I made a few modifications to the plans. I kind of reversed the layout. I also made a drawer that expands the entire bottom here instead of having a tower and a short drawer. The bigger drawer holds more accessories, you know. And I don't use as many discs as Stumpy does on his. So this change in the layout works well for me. I've got a video on this version of this workstation. It's version number 3, and I'll put a link to that down below. Anyways, what we're all trying to do is to try and find a workaround for a toolbar that goes in here. Now, this is a toolbar that Worksharp discontinued because of lack of sales, and this was very handy because the diameter of this rod here on this bar is exactly the same as Tormek bar is, and that allows you to use a lot of the Tormek accessories and jigs on here for sharpening things, and that was a really big advantage, but not enough sales, so they discontinued this work bar, and now it's like impossible to find. Although I think about a year or two ago I did find one online on eBay for, I think it was going for like $300. That's kind of expensive when that work bar in the first place was only $60 back when they were selling it, so that seems a bit outrageous. Now as I go through this, I make some jump cuts and so forth as I try to put together telling you about this. Now what I've come up with is another plan on how to make a work bar work here, and it'll be the idea of using a Tormek work bar, and I'm going to mount this up here with a couple of pieces of MDF 1/2 inch. I built this thing out of 1/2 inch MDF, so I've got a few scrap pieces laying around that happen to be perfect for setting up the support that I want here. So I can attach this bracket, and I'll put links to all these things below. It'll mount into there. I'm going to mount it onto here in a way, and then that'll provide use of the toolbar and the Tormek jigs for sharpening things. Also, I'm going to make it so that this bar will be able to swing around to various positions on here. So, show you a little bit about how I'm going to do this, and then I'll go on and do it so you can see how I do it. Now I turn around to the back here, And you can see what I've got here is I'm going to attach a piece of board to the back of this. I'm going to cut it down to 4¼ inch width here, because that's the width of that support for the Tormek jig. And I'll attach that there. Then I'm going to attach another board here, and I'm going to cut all these down to size so it fits correctly. Then I can attach this Tormek bar holder here and put it so that it's just below the level of this disc here, and then get it all fastened together. I'll be cutting all these boards down to size to fit, and once I got that built, then I can remove this bracket for the Tormek Tool Bar, because it won't be needed. Maybe I'll sell it, maybe I'll keep it. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do with that yet, so we shall see. So I will move on here and show you how I put this together and have a good work bar to work with. I'm ready to, I cut up these boards here to fit onto this on the back there to mount the Tormek bracket to. And I cut 2 of them. One's shorter, the other one's longer. The long one's going to fit on the back side of that and get attached to the back side there. The shorter one's going to go on the inside of that. So it sets in like that. Of course, I'll be taking this bracket out of here yet too. And the reason I wanted to have this in a little bit further is so that it would position a bracket better for positioning the work bar over this sanding disc. That'll make it a lot better. Then this bracket will get attached to here. Now the reason that I cut this with this cutout here, made it thinner down there, is because right underneath here is where you'll have the see-through sander where you can access with your lathe tool and sharpen your lathe tools on this. So I didn't want to block access to that, so wanted to make sure I had a cutout there and space to be able to reach that correctly. And then this length here, of course, had to be the length of the support bracket and at least the thickness here of it, or the width of it, so I can mount this on here pretty good. So I'll get this attached up. What I'm going to do is glue this on, clamp it, then I'll put in some screws to hold it and give it some extra strength. Then this one I'll glue it onto this here, glue it onto there, and I'll put some screws in here to support that. I'll also put some glue underneath the bottom of this to give it some extra support there to hold it. Now, MDF is not necessarily maybe the strongest or hardest wood to work with. It's probably pretty soft. But I think with the amount of force that you use for sharpening tools is really quite light. You should not be forcing your tools at all when you're doing sharpening. Otherwise, you're going to really mess them up. So I think this will be plenty strong enough for the needs for sharpening tools. So I'll get these glued up and screwed together. So I got these clamped on with each other, glued up and all clamped together. Let that set for a while, and then I'll put the screws in to give it, some further strength. Well, I've got these boards all glued on and screwed together. You can see all the screws I got in there, and got them together on there, overlapping on this one, and it gives me this steady mount here that I can attach this Tormek bracket to now. Let's mount this on here. Then that will hold the Tormek Tool Bar over the sharpening wheel. So all I got to do now is I'll attach this bracket on here, and then I'll show you how I use this. Well, I've got this Tormek bar mount attached here, and it's on here pretty good. A couple of knobs here that holds the bar in place. You go up and down with it, and you can adjust this dial here, which is like a nut, to get the height that you want above the table or above the disc. And then just put these in finger tight, and that holds pretty good. This all seems to be pretty solid, so I think it's great. And it's over the disc well enough to give us a good approach with the tools. Some of the Tormek attachments that I've got I can use is like this flat surface here, and it just fits right over the Tormek bar. It's a Tormek accessory itself, and you can adjust this to whatever angle you need to sharpen some of the straight flat surfaces on some lathe chisels. And other options too is like this lathe chisel here. I would often have this in a position. I got a little bit high right now, but this you can kind of rotate around and sharpen the edge of that blade. So, alright, so this worked out really great. Also, you can adjust for other angles. You can pull this out and adjust it for any other angle you want here. Like say, instead of approaching this from the back like where I'm standing, you could approach it from the front. Just like this. Probably can't see it well. And then you can do this, you know, approach it from the front and do the same kind of sharpening as you would otherwise. So that works great. Alright, so you're still with me. So here's the tip that I promised at the end, and that is that this table surface right here, see if I can tilt this a little bit so you can see it without losing some of my discs here. And you got this surface here. That's called the wide blade attachment, and that's been discontinued also, perhaps about 2 years ago. So that's no longer available. The way to get around that is basically just to extend this top here on over so that it meets up with the wheel here. I'm going to turn this around differently here. So I can tilt this without losing things. And then when you get this table extended over, you know, do a cutout here, you know, roughly close. It doesn't have to be perfect. So you can get up there and use this surface as a flat surface. That's all this is about, is providing a large flat surface for doing what they call wide or big blades. And what you would do with those is you would put them in a contraption like this to sharpen them. You extend the length out to get the right angle on the chisel or the blades, plane blades, and you'd run that and just kind of go back and forth with that to get that sharpened up. That's all there is to it. So since this is not available, if you can't find or get one, just if you make this workstation, just extend this tabletop all the way over so that it can be matched up with this and shaped out. So that works great. And the reason why you would use a wide blade attachment is because when you're doing chisels or plane blades, you've got this one port here for sharpening the angled part of the plane blade or chisel, and this only goes up to a certain width. So if your blade is wider than what this will accept, then that's when you got to go up here and do this method. So good tip for you. Unfortunately, that's the only kind of workaround I've got for this, extending this top on over to meet up with the disc. Well, thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video and you got some inspiration to update your sharpener, please give me a like and hit that thumbs up icon. Please share it with your family, friends, and fellow woodworking enthusiasts. Please give us your comments on what you would like to see, any questions you may have, and what ideas you can share with us. Please subscribe and be sure to hit that bell icon so you won't miss anything new. Thank you.